How did you think it was going to go?
I felt I won, but when you go into these close decisions, you always get nervous, of course. I felt like I didn't have to pull the fight out, but it's, like I said, you never want to be in a close fight.
What do you feel like you won it on? I mean, you seemed like you wanted to get the takedown. He's a tough guy to take down, obviously.
I definitely wanted the takedown. I really pushed on being aggressive in my ground game for this fight, but Tyron Woodley's a phenomenal wrestler. Probably one of the toughest guys to take down in the 170-pound division, if not the toughest. And he played a game, too, where he's pretty defensive, waiting for me to shoot in, and did a good job of staying away. But I felt like I won just off pushing the pace. I felt like I was doing all the attacks on the stand-up, pushing him, and, I was the one trying to take him down, being aggressive.
Would you hear? I think the first judge scored at 30-27 for him. I mean, when you hear that, what do you think?
Well, when they announced one judge, it's a split decision at that point. So I knew I had the next one. I was just, of course, I'm really nervous when I heard that. I really wanted this win and felt I'd won. And but you just don't know. I felt Gil Melendez just won his last fight and he didn't. So I was really nervous, to be honest. But then I was happy it went my way.
Did the long layoff affect you at all?
No, because I was training with Gil and Nick, Nate, all these guys I've been training. I just feel like I think Tyron, for me, is one of the toughest style matchups. I knew that going in. I think stylistically, really, really hard to take down, really big power, good striker. It's just, me being a ground specialist, him being probably the hardest, or one of the 2 or 3 hardest guys to take down in the division, it was a tough style matchup for me. I had to make some changes and work on my feet.
Dana was on Twitter right after the fight saying that he felt like Tyron won it and that he got robbed. I mean, what do you feel like? Obviously, you're happy to get the win, but when you hear that the boss wasn't scoring it for you, what do you think?
I know he has his opinion. I felt like I won, and that's all I can say.
How did you feel coming back down to 170, going through the weigh-in and everything, and how you felt tonight back at 170?
I felt good with the weight cut. I was able to put energy back on good, and the weight cut felt good.
Jake, talk about your ability to win fights with your stand-up now. I mean, people identify you as a ground specialist. You essentially won this by standing up. You beat Akiyama with leg kicks. Talk a bit about the volume leg kick game and your ability to use that. I mean, you're not a big hitter, yet you're beating guys with your stand-up now, which is pretty impressive, and I think shocks a lot of people each time now.
Yeah, I think a lot of these, one thing, my stand-up's underrated. No one just, people start saying I have no stand-up, so everyone just kind of repeats it instead of watch me win the fights. I think a lot of people get in the habit of doing that with GSP gets criticized for his stand-up. I think he has some of the best stand-up in the sport. That's a good example of that. But I just, I think a lot of these guys, they don't want to get taken down, so they're being really passive. So they're backing up on me, so I'm able to, be the aggressive and land more strikes on them.
Talk about the volume angle, because I think it shocks a lot of people. Like, the graphics pop up during the fight, and they think, wow, Jake Shields has already landed 100 leg kicks. How concerted an effort is it in the gym when you practice just to go for volume?
It's a lot. You got to be in phenomenal shape. I was in great shape for this fight, and I knew, like I said before, Tyron Woodley, I think stylistically might be one of the, him, maybe 2 other guys, the toughest him for me. So I knew it was going to be a tough fight. So I just had to keep the volume on him and put pressure and try to break him. And in his credit, he never, I thought he was going to gas more. He never gassed that bad. I was hoping he'd gas in the third and I'd be able to finish him, but he never seemed to fade that bad.
Talk about the spinning back fist. It was the most notable piece of the fight, and really you just ate it and kept going forward. How badly were you hurt, if at all?
Just a little minor daze. It landed, but I wouldn't say I was hurt. I was more surprised because I didn't see it coming. He cracked me, and I was like, okay, I gotta get some payback for this.
It seemed like at times he was kind of loading up on that right hand, like that betting on that to be able to hurt you. I mean, did you feel his power and think that's something to be concerned about, or were you okay with it?
No, I was okay with his power. I was watching and I was concerned with his power, but once I got in there and felt the first one land, I'm like, all right, this guy's not gonna put me down. I feel like I can take a shot. He landed it, and I'm like, okay, I can walk right through this. And I mean, not that I wasn't still concerned, because a perfect punch can knock you out at any time. But once I felt it, I felt like I was gonna be okay with him.
And that's from the first one?
Yeah, the first one kind of grazed me. I think I felt him loaded up, and that was, early on I knew his power was gonna be the strongest, and I felt his power early on. I'm like, okay, I can take this.
After bouncing back between weight classes, now you're settled in at 170. Are you kind of looking for, a top-tier name now, welterweight, to kind of make up for lost time?
Definitely. I would love to, fight one of the top 3 or 4 guys. Rory McDonald, Carlos Condon, who I've beat in the past. Just any of the top guys, really.